In the latest episode of Star Trek Lower Decks, we've got the Cerritos on a mission to save some former Starfleet officers who may be actively targeted by our rogue ship. And due to her strangely dangerous behavior lately on missions, the Lower Decks crew have the mission of their own. Basically, keep Beckett out of trouble while on a basic repair job. Of course, this is Lower Deck, so they do run into trouble. Let's find out just how much trouble they run into on this week's installment of Standout Scenes and review of Star Trek Lower Decks Season 4, Episode 9, Inner Fight. This episode did start off with a bang as they're trying to assist some scientists to basically get a fence repaired and try to survive studying these, trouble lizards? Very dangerous, very cute, and actually, they don't look anything like lizards, at least not to me. The episode was a bit of a roller coaster, so let's get started with our standout scenes. My first standout scene is going to be Captain Freeman sucks at getting information. Now, I'll be fair, I watched this and thought something was really up. Freeman is a pretty damn good captain, so I was really disappointed in the fact that she wasn't dressed for going to the planet. She wasn't acting like anybody who would be criminal in any way. She wasn't trying to blend in, and it really, really irritated me, especially after the great job done by Mir Giorgio on Discovery. I was very disappointed. So the away team head down to New Axton. It consists of Shax, Rutherford, and of course our very own Captain Freeman. And New Axton was a kick from the start. The landing party's protocols to get to the planet, making the crew do a little run around to the moon just to get there, which was its own kind of funny. The faux puppet, anybody who's watched classic original series.
Dummy. Puppet of some kind.
I thought it was a puppet. I don't blame her in the slightest. All in all, just the bias against the Federation and anybody in Starfleet coming down trying to pretend they belong there. It was all great. Also, Muds. Need I say more? But ending with Billups as the bounty hunter in disguise, obviously. Getting the information, playing off the ridiculousness of Freeman's non-disguise. It was the cherry on the sundae. My second standout scenes for this episode is going to be Mariner's big speech, the one that gets everybody rallied to work together. She very much got up high and told everyone that they need to be working together and got their attention. And of course, with her new Klingon friend backing her up, people did listen. She's inspirational. And again, even though she disappears, with Ma'ok's help, the inspiration continues despite her sudden disappearance. The team works together. Well, this newly formed team, they retake Mach's ship. They get on board. He does what Klingons do to take captaincy of their ship. And the crew that abandoned him is now under his command. Well, who's left of them? But none of that would have been possible if Mariner hasn't decided that they needed to work together, all of them. I love that she brought up the fact that all of these alien races, they looked up to the sky and decided to explore. There was something to bind them together. Obviously being stranded binds them together, but the heart of an explorer, it got them really kind of relating to each other and at least able to see each other in that light. So none of what came after would have been possible if it hadn't been for Mariner and her shared epiphany. My third standout scene for this episode is going to be finding Nick Locarno's blueprints. Oh yeah, I did not see that coming. For some reason, I know this is terrible, but I kept thinking of Farscape, and then it was John Crichton, and they jumped to shows. It looked very much like the capsule. I apologize, my nerdiness is coming through. But to find out that this is Nick's design, can't be too much of a shock that he could do this. He's played by Robert McNeil, and Robert McNeil plays Paris, and Paris designed the Delta Flyer, so sure, some shared knowledge, right? They look the same. But no, he was this great pilot, so of course he would have some engineering skills, some design skills, but Rutherford is the one who spots the blueprints, bringing Freeman over, and of course Shax sees as well. This is a big piece of information. They now know who this rogue ship belongs to, who designed it, where it came from. And it is surprising that that is the person that we've been watching this entire season taking other ships. A little side note, I kind of liked Nick's digs. Nice open space, good for designing. Have some friends over if you'd like. Nice big space. Now, for my fourth standout scenes, this cannot be a surprise to anyone who've watched the episode, and I watched it, I think, 5 times so far. It's going to be Mariner reveals why she's been so self-destructive. And yes, they do refer to a few missions that have happened lately where she's, made some poor choices, headed into danger without thinking, even if it wasn't necessarily danger. Parts are not Borg. But this was incredible information. It's the kind of stuff we've been waiting for, at least me. Why Mariner acts this way. And we find out it's because she knew Ceto. Of course, we all know Ceto. She was one of the Red Squadron, and she was with Nick, Wes, and the rest of the crew when one of their fellow squadron members dies due to a bad choice of maneuvers to celebrate graduation. Now, in that storyline, Nick is the one who fesses up. He was the leader of the team, so he took the blame and was drummed out of the academy, allowing Wes, Ceto, and the rest of them to continue in the academy and one would assume graduate and move on. We did see Ceto later show up on the Enterprise, and she was asked to become part of a mission where she would be herself a Bajoran, but disguised as one that had been mistreated in a spy mission, and it's a mission that she didn't come back from. This is what has deeply affected Mariner and her choices ever since. She wants to honor Ceto by staying an ensign. That is how Ceto died, and that's how Mariner wants to remain. The incredible thing is that this newfound friendship with the Klingon Mach is what turns her around. She talks to him, and he tells her the best way to honor Ceto is to be the best officer she could be, because that is what Ceto would have tried to do for herself. But Mariner's problem wasn't just with Ceto's death. It's been the way that Starfleet has been going and the Federation as of late because of all the different battles. And Starfleet was no longer this organization of exploration. It was this organization of battles and fights. It's not what she wanted. It's not where she wants to go. And quite frankly, it is also part of what makes her decide to stick around and do better. What better way to make change than to move up in the chain of command? This entire scene tells us so much, not just Mariner's past, but turns her around for her future and how she sees the impact she could make. And so, yeah, that hands down, best scene. And now we're at that midway roll. And normally I would throw a midway roll in here, but today I'm going to show you a little something fun. One, subscribe, like, comment, absolutely let me know what you thought were the best parts of this episode. But most importantly, I wanted to announce that I'm extending the Katie's Corner in Space shop sale. Yeah, the SAGDEAL is going to be the code to earn 15% off of your entire purchase from my shop. And I was going to have it end on the 31st. However, it seems that the strike isn't over, so why should the sale be over? And I think I'm going to extend that probably through November. And before I head off to the honorable mentions for this episode, I kind of wanted to show you something fun that I got when I went to the Star Trek convention in Vegas last August. I was lucky enough to have a little extra money and got myself an autograph from Tawny. And I wanted to show this to you because I did not ask for this. I walked up. She's a cheery, fun woman. I enjoyed just her presence. She's great. She smiled at me, thought my hair was fairly interesting, gave me a moment and said, "I got it for you. What's your name?" And I gave her my information. I didn't ask her to sign this in purple, but she totally did. And I thought that was fantastic. Gotta love Tawny. Just wanted to mention that. Sorry about interrupting us. We'll get back to those honorable mentions. For my first honorable mention, one of those little elements to just make the episode that much better, well, it's going to be that glass shard rain. Not only was it slicing into your skin, I mean, nobody wants to get caught in a downpour without shelter, but once they were forced into shelter, Mariner and Ma'ach have this discussion that really changes the way Mariner sees her possible future. My second honorable mention is going to be that one element, that thing that most women search for and hope for in a pair of pants. And that's, of course, going to be pockets. I loved Rutherford's excitement over pockets. I personally think many females who watch Star Trek truly could relate to that moment. Several men, I'm sure, too. Pants should always have pockets and reasonably sized, not just decorative. This is an important thing. My third honorable mention, I've already mentioned it before, but it was done so funnily I had to say it again. It's going to be the information broker is not a puppet. Okay, they did that on purpose in the animation. His mouth was not moving with the words. It was obviously so you would think, oh, that's a puppet. Of course, Freeman thought it was a puppet. It looked exactly like a puppet, a very familiar puppet, but it was done so well that, like I said, I had to mention it again here because, yeah, these little things that just make you giggle and are funny little nods to the original series, they deserve a little extra notice. And my fourth honorable mention, yes, once again, I am calling out a character, a special character that truly helped this episode move along in a way that no one else could have helped. And that is going to be our new Klingon friend, Mach. Yes, he was able to get Mariner to open up. Sometimes it's easier to talk to a stranger than a friend, especially a stranger who seems to understand the pain and the difficulty that you've gone through. On a visceral level, many Klingons do have this history of violence and yet understanding at the same time because honor is such a big part of it. You're going to be hard pressed to find a Klingon warrior who hasn't had great loss, some victories, and had to move along despite the results. So I think Ma'ak was the perfect ear to give her a way to get it all out and truly focus on what's been her problem this entire time. And I love that moment is what reveals the truth to us as well. A lot of crazy things. I did have fun coming up with this list because there were quite a few things that really made this episode fantastic. We finally figure out the fate of these crews from these ships that have been taken. Now, it seems that either they revolted and got rid of the leaders, and now we've got the lower decks, or at least the lieutenants, commanders, and below running the ships somewhere. Where are the other ships? When we do find our missing crewmen on the planet, we find that some have formed factions and are working together. Others are, of course, enemies of each other. It's a fascinating result to have all of these different people put together who normally wouldn't work together at all, and yet some of them do. However, with this information, we see that the Klingon bird of prey does know about the planet there and possibly was talking to Nick before he flew away. So are they working together? And what about the other crews? Are the other crews also working with Nick? This opens up a whole new bunch of possibilities. Like, does he now have a rogue ship armada? Are they all working together? And also, what does that symbol on the Klingon's wing mean? It was scratched in and I didn't quite get a good picture. If you know the answer to that, put that in the comments below as well. I did think it was kind of funny that apparently Star Trek has adopted the Star Wars cantina from A New Hope into their design for a lot of bars, from the new one on Strange New Worlds. And I think this is the second one I've seen this season where we've got a little circular bar in the middle of the room. It's a nice design, but I kind of wish they'd play it up a little bit. And one of the great things about this episode on its own is that T'Lyn is back. I'm finding she really rounds out the crew, and we've really gotten to know her, which makes me think she's probably going to die soon. Or either that or she'll get transferred and we'll see her in a later season. But yeah, I don't think she's going to stick around very long unless they make her a permanent part of the crew, which does kind of change things. But I would not complain about it at all. She's been a breath of fresh air, and I've really enjoyed how she plays off of the other characters. Now, by the end of the episode, Mariner is a guest of Nick's, I suppose, and that might not be great. He seems to want to cause some trouble with her, and I think something else is interesting. They probably knew each other in the academy, which means Nick may have been looking for Beckett, might know her record of not quite doing what she ought to in Starfleet, could think this is a friend who understands what he's doing. Nick was drummed out of the academy because he made a mistake and took blame for it. He took responsibility for his actions, and ever since then has apparently kind of been doing his own thing. Maybe he doesn't want to do his own thing anymore. Maybe he has much bigger plans, and whatever plans those may be, he wants Mariner to be a part of it. It also makes me wonder who else he might have on board. There have been some thoughts, maybe Seven's there, but we won't find out until the next episode. Now, this episode here, it was Really incredible, fantastic. It was emotionally driven, it was action packed, it was funny, and it was really, really interesting. It revealed so many different things, not just about our characters, but about some of the characters from other shows. Of course, Nick, the connection that Cito had with Mariner. It was really kind of beautiful in some ways. I would say this has probably been the best episode of the season. I'm not sure where I'd rate it out of all four seasons, but I think it's probably the best out of this season, at least again, in my opinion. We won't have long to wait since I did get this out a little late. I'm kind of slacking on this season. I do apologize. It's been a weird month. It's been a weird year, to be honest. And, well, Halloween is my wedding anniversary, so we've been enjoying all the little Halloween things over the weekend. I didn't buckle down and do my job. I'm a naughty YouTuber and I should be punished. I don't know. Don't like the video, I guess. But do check out the next video when we get our finale and hopefully get more information and a good conclusion on the missing crew, the missing ships, what Nick's got up his sleeve. Heck, maybe we'll see 7 of 9. Maybe Tom Riker. I wouldn't mind. Until next time, please check out any one of these videos for more Star Trek content. Don't forget, I also try to update us on strike information. And if you happen to like Outlander, guess what? I cover a lot of that stuff here too. So until next time and the next video, I'll see you there. I'm not a Trekkie, I promise.